Major changes are being made to the Cleveland Browns, and I think that is a good thing and a good omen for the 2026 NFL season. Welcome into the Browns Report, everybody. I am your host, Joey O'Donohue, and Todd Monken did not wait. He got right to work to switch up this Browns staff. So I'm going to give you the updates and the latest for Cleveland. But real quick, I also want to give you guys an awesome deal that we've got merch here on the Browns Report. Listen, Valentine's Day is coming up. If you got a special someone in your life, a loved one, a partner, who is a Browns fan now because of you and your diehard fandom, this is the perfect Valentine's Day gift. I think it'll get a nice laugh as well. Chatsports.com/BrownsVDay. Get your married into this merch, okay? For the Browns fans, the Dog Pound is a super comfortable Cleveland football women's t-shirt, ultra soft Cleveland football women's sweatshirt. I told you guys before, we had the significant others of the office actually pick out the material because they were being really picky about it. They're like, no, it's got to be this one. So we know it's as comfortable as it can be, at least according to them. So I have a feeling that your significant other will love it as well. Go to chatsports.com/BrownsVDay. Get it in time for Valentine's Day, which is coming up. And like I said, I think it is the perfect gift, super comfortable. Get your family repping the Dog Pound, the real ones. Be an awesome sight for you to see. The first update we had from Jeremy Fowler is that run game coordinator Travis Switzer is considered the front runner for the Browns offensive coordinator job. He's set to interview with the team soon, and the idea is to pair Todd Monken's passing game with Switzer's run principles from Baltimore. So we seem to know who our offensive coordinator is going to be, and then we've got plenty of other coaching staff updates here on the bottom half of the show. Now, Fowler says he's interviewing as a major frontrunner, but Aaron Wilson actually came out and said that Travis Switzer is staying in the AFC North, and it's confirmed he's the Browns' new offensive coordinator. So he's also a former offensive lineman, oversaw a strong rushing attack led by Derrick Henry, and has background with the tight ends and the receivers too. Now, you still need to satisfy the Rooney Rule in coordinator interviews, so I don't think it can be official, but the fact that sources are putting it out that it's happening and he's an overwhelming front runner, I think it's almost safe to say that we likely have our new offensive coordinator here in Travis Switzer. A little bit of background on our potential new OC, our front runner. He was a quality control coach in Baltimore under Todd Monken and John Harbaugh, and Monken promoted Switzer to run game coordinator. Now, that was from 2024 and served in that role in 2025. Also, he was an offensive lineman for 4 years. Guess where? At the University of Akron. Okay? So, what's Cleveland's biggest need? O-line. Maybe that's a good sign. Maybe he can help coach up that unit as well and really get run game going, evidently. But that year that he was promoted by Todd Monken, check this out. Baltimore's ground game racked up an NFL-high 2,661 yards, averaging 156.6 per game. And guess what? A franchise record, 26 touchdowns, and they had the second most 20-plus yard rushes in the National Football League. I think this is a good pairing. Two guys that know each other well, work together well. And get ready, Quinshon Judkins is going to have a great season next year, ladies and gentlemen. Here's what the last 3 seasons looked like in Baltimore with Monken and Switzer running that offense. Well, they were the number 1 rushing team in the league. Number 1 in rushing yards, okay? Number 2 in scrimmage yards altogether as well, averaging 389.4 per game. Doesn't that sound sweet? They were also 3rd in points per game as a whole, 3rd in rushing touchdowns, and top 5 in receiving touchdowns, like Fowler said at the top of our show here. Monken's pass game specialties, Switzer's run game abilities, boom, combine them, you're getting metrics and production in every single facet of this game on offense. And I don't think offensive coordinator is necessarily a major, hire that you need. So some of you might be listening to this and you're like, who is Travis Switzer, Joey? Why are you hyping up this random guy nobody's ever heard of? I get it, but what's likely happening is Monken's going to call the plays here. So you essentially, I don't want to say you're an effective offensive coordinator, but your head coach is running this offense and calling the plays. So it's more important that he brings a guy that he's worked well with. I think it's good to have an acquainted pairing here that has also worked before in the past, and that's what's most important for the Cleveland Browns. Monken calls the plays, gets this offense humming and going, and Switzer could do the things like focus on the run game, scheming up runs to get the most space for Judkins and Sampson and maybe even Raheem Sanders. It would be cool to see him back out there next year for the Cleveland Browns. Right, that is the idea here with your new OC. You didn't necessarily need to get a splash name like a Cliff Kingsbury who's available because Monken's calling the plays. So that will be the key in revamping this offense. If you want to see Browns offense next year, get you juiced up. Get fired up, man. How many games did we sit through and the offense was just standstill, sluggish, and moving? But when you had that one deep shot, that one big play, it got you out of your seat. You felt the emotion, the juice, the vibes. Like the video if you want more of that on a consistent basis. I'm going to smash this like button, man, because seeing explosive plays from Shedeur last season got me fired up. So if you want to see some more Browns offense, Judkins running like crazy, tap that like button and let's manifest it for 2026. Another update came in from Adam Schefter here. I gave you guys this one, but another hire in Cleveland. Todd Monken is bringing former Ravens offensive line coach George Warhop with him to the Browns to coach that same position per sources. Now, the Ravens offensive line had its struggles last year, particularly with their guards, but if you look at the last two seasons combined, according to ESPN research, they were third in the NFL in pass block win rate and also seventh in the NFL in run block win rate, again with Warhop and Monken over there in Baltimore. To show you how that compares to what the Cleveland Browns have been doing, well, last season we were 20th in pass block and 24th in run block win rate. I mean, only 63% of the time were we winning pass blocks. It's not good for an entire offensive line unit, folks. Let me tell you that. And Warhop is a very experienced O-line coach. He was actually Cleveland's O-line coach way back when we had the great Joe Thomas. And here's what Joe Thomas said about George Warhop. Said, Warhop had a big impact on my career as a player. He helped me take my game to the next level. Seems like he's respected just because of how long he's been around the league. And I'll tell you, our offensive line coach had to get the boot last year. All right, that unit looked mismanaged, not well coached. Cam Robinson did not know where to look after trading for him. So when I first saw we were getting a new OL coach, I was fired up. I think George Warhop's going to be a good guy. The key now for Cleveland, draft, sign the right guys. I'm a big fan of Francis Mauigoa, the Miami tackle. If he's there at 6, I don't see why we don't take him. Spencer Fauno being mocked to the Cleveland Browns in different drafts as well. I think later in that first round, you also might see Caleb Lamu, different tackles. Freeling early in the second. Jennings Dunker, keep an eye on him. I'm going to have some mock drafts for you guys coming out soon. You draft and sign the right offensive lineman now. If you fix the OL, that's the quickest path to success. It's the quickest path for Cleveland. If you could just have an O-line that held up, like Shedeur, would surprise a lot of folks how much better it would look next year. I'm serious. You keep this top 5 defense that we had last year. Jury's still out on if Jim Schwartz is coming back or not, but we'll have the same players. Their quickest path to turning this thing around right away, beef up that O-line. It's just going to help everybody produce. I think we do have playmakers on offense, but there's no time. So, it's my take. Let's fix that thing up real quick, and I'm glad we got a new LO coach. Todd Monken's not done, though, folks. This is likely going to play out in Cleveland's favor, too. The Browns are requesting an interview Ravens offensive assistant Danny Breyer for a pass game coordinator role. He's been in Baltimore the last 3 years, working closely with the tight end unit. That's included players like Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. Well, I'll tell you, this is the best news for Harold Fannin out of anybody because Breyer specifically works really closely with those two tight ends, and both of them saw plenty of production last year. Fannin is, just by the eye test and the numbers, I think he's going to be a household tight end name for years in the National Football League. I do. Yards after catch ability is phenomenal. He's a reception machine. And guess who led the Browns in receiving yards this year? Fannin, as a tight end, a rookie tight end at that. Also had 6 touchdowns to go with those 731 yards. He's athletic. You could throw it up to him. Good route runner. Also blocks. Love Harold Fannin Jr. This is best for him that we're bringing in a guy that works specifically with tight ends. I like that Monken's bringing in guys that just excel in different pieces. I think there'll be more, functionality in Cleveland next season. Guys that know each other, have worked well together. Now, David Njoku's contract's still up in the air, folks, right? We know not a guarantee that he's going to come back. He has said mid-season at the trade deadline he loves Cleveland, he wants to be here, and then all of a sudden his answers changed, and he said, it's kind of up in the air. I don't know if they want me back. So we shall see what Cleveland elects to do there. But funny enough, Isaiah Likely is a free agent. Perhaps Monken If you lose Njoku, you just bring over another athletic tight end who can block as well. We shall see what Cleveland does, but Monken has always excelled in his offenses with 2 good tight ends. Cleveland has as well. Jeremy Fowler tells us the Browns are officially hiring veteran college and NFL coach Mike Bajakian. I'm saying that right. Hell yeah. As quarterbacks coach. Bajakian, last Utah's offensive coordinator, reunites with Todd Monken from their days on Tampa staff together. That was from 2016 to 2018. Listen, another guy that Monken knows, has worked with. This time it's not a former Raven, right? But when they were together in Tampa Bay, I'll tell you, Jameis Winston had his best years. Touchdown to interception ratio. He had a couple 4,000-yard seasons in Tampa Bay, if I'm not mistaken. So I like that we're bringing in another piece here that's worked well with different quarterbacks and has brought the most out of them. And then obviously Lamar Jackson, unanimous MVP under Todd Monken. Just adding pieces to this staff. One more for you. The Browns hiring Jeff Blasco as their new tight ends coach. Blasco served in the same role last year for the Jets. Prior to that, Blasco was the assistant offensive line coach for the Cowboys from 2020 to 2022. It's good that we're getting a guy that coached up some O-linemen. Now, he was then promoted to run game coordinator and running backs coach from 23 to 24. And in 2024, that's when Rico Dowdle burst onto the scene, right, with that 1,000-yard season. And Blasco was the assistant offensive line coach when Todd Monken was the Browns OC back in 2019. We all know that issue with Freddie Kitchens. I think that is where you could blame 2019 for the most. But again, you're getting a guy who works closely with tight ends and has boosted up some offensive lines in run games. It's starting to seem like Quinshon Judkins getting the best news here of most of the Browns players. If he comes back healthy, we know he's a dog, and teams just started stacking the box against him. But now we got some guys that can creatively run schemes to free up space. If we get more blockers, it's going to be dangerous next year. And that's when the explosives opened up for Shedeur Sanders, where you have to respect the run and the pass. Guys, don't get me fantasizing about how great things could be. One more. Tom Pelissero says the Browns are interviewing Daniel Stern for an associate head coach position. Stern was most recently the Ravens assistant quarterback coach and a director of football strategy for them. Now he could follow Todd Monken to Cleveland. Funnily enough, Pelissero actually tweeted that the hire was official, and then he deleted the tweet and said, he jumped the gun here. They're interviewing him. That must mean that he's a massive favorite. It's the only name I've heard them interview for associate head coach. And so what could this look like for Cleveland? Well, Daniel Stern spent 10 seasons with the Baltimore Ravens, and as I showed you, director of football strategy and assistant quarterback coach in Baltimore. Now, that director of football strategy role is actually very interesting, and we're going to talk about that in just a second here, but also is a graduate of Yale University. And Andrew Berry loves their analytical guys. They say Stern is a very smart analytical mind and started in analytics in Baltimore as well. Here's a little bit of a deep dive on his role. I took the liberty of doing research on it, and Daniel Stern's role with the Ravens looked a little like this. He assists with the playbook, call sheet, opponent analysis, and self-scouting. He also is responsible for scripting situational periods of practice and advising head coach John Harbaugh on in-game clock and game management and coaches' challenges. Since 2019, Stern has been charged with studying game management, situational football, and the NFL playing rules, officiating, advising Harbaugh and the team in these areas. So he's like studying everything up, game management, clock situations, drafting up situations, studying the rule book, and advising the great John Harbaugh on what to do in those situations. And I'll tell you what, Kevin Stefanski messed up a lot of those decisions last year. Did he not? Punting at the wrong moment, going for it on fourth downs in our own territory with awful play designs. I mean, sounds like this is a sneaky good hire if this interview goes great. It seems like Monken wants to bring him over. Overall, I think he's putting together a good staff here in Cleveland, poaching Ravens to make them worse. Guys he's acquainted with, worked with well, specialize in a bunch of different facets of the game. And that's the benefit of hiring an experienced head coach like Todd Monken, a guy who has 37 years of coaching experience. He's got ties to other places. Like, could Nate Shieldhouse have brought this many different guys with him right away like that? No, I don't think he's got that much pull or connection yet in the National Football League. He's not even an OC. Monken, who's been an OC everywhere you could think of, that's the benefit of having an experienced head coach who's been in different organizations for years and years and years. And I think the funniest part of it all, we're taking our team back from Baltimore. You took our team decades ago. Well, guess what? We take all the Ravens coaches now, all right, build them up on the Cleveland Browns staff, and then beat them next year, hopefully twice in the AFC North. That would be the best for us Cleveland Browns fans. Get hyped up if you want it to happen. Now, one last thing I got to mention here. Piece of some really great news. I reported this in a recent video. It's now official. Bubba Ventrone being hired by the Rams. Let's go. We'll get a new special teams coordinator. Bubba should have been fired. Even Kevin Stefanski didn't take Bubba with him to Atlanta, folks. Somehow, some way, the Rams, who struggled on special teams last year, thinks Bubba is their answer. They are in for a surprise, and Monken's going to bring a new special teams coordinator over to the Cleveland Browns. So that is good news, I would imagine. And like I said, I'm liking the staff that he's putting together here. I really think the key is just if we get any sort of offense humming next year more consistently on a consistent basis, I think the run schemes are going to help with that as well. Cleveland could start contending once again in the AFC North, perhaps even for a wild card. So let's do this. How many wins will the Browns have in 2026? Comment a number down below, anywhere from 0 to 17. Put a number in that comment section. We're actually undefeated in 2026, okay? Week 18 matchup in January. So all we do is win right now. So I wouldn't be mad if you put 17 wins, but give me your honest answer down below in that comment section. While you're down there, find my social links. We're on X/Twitter, JoeyO70, Instagram, Brown Support IG, and TikTok, JoeyOBrown. Plenty of fun content. I post a lot of memes, funny stuff on Twitter, and updates every day. So don't miss out. Short-form content for you guys, and hit that subscribe button. If you love the dog pound and you're a real one, hit that sub button. Guys, I'll see you soon with some more videos.